I'm Trek with two Ks.
Alrighty. Hola, hola, buenos noches, buenos tardes, GnGs. My name is Trek with 2Ks, and this is Trek with 2Ks Live. And yeah, it has been a minute. Um, hmm, what am I gonna try to explain in this? I don't know right now. But the short to say, yeah, it has definitely been a minute. And you know me on the whole timeline thing. I literally just thought about it today and X amount of things happened. I opened up Twitter for like the first time in a while. And what is the first thing that I see? Andreas Antonopoulos is stepping away from doing content because of some health stuff. And I was just like, oh, god damn. Seriously? That's the first thing I see when I open up Twitter? I just realized that. My bad. Damn things ain't thinking. Um, yeah. So, it's just life out here, life in y'all. Life out here, life in, and that's all I can say for folks right now. That's all I can say for folks right now. One thing after the other. Um, I guess we're gonna see how the night goes. So, there's a couple of things on the agenda as far as topics is concerned. Um, but at the same time, still, I need to do like an update on like what's up with how I'm looking at the channel and stuff. Because definitely a couple things have been going on with YouTube where YouTube is not friendly to explainer videos anymore. Um, which I mean, I haven't been making explainer videos, so you know that's one thing. But I've also still been trying to figure out what to do with my channel in regards to like how to still deal with pushing stuff over here on Gentlemen of Crypto. Um, you know, that's where I built with most of the folks who are aware of me as Trek with 2Ks and you know what I say about this crypto stuff and how it's going. Um and then, you know, for those who've been around for a minute, I have moved over into the no face channel kind of area. And so that is interesting to see that YouTube still lets this like move through the algos, but the algos definitely ding me um on my actual channel, which is the Trek with 2Ks live, in that the way the system works now, it sees the stuff that's here on Gentlemen of Crypto and the stuff that's there as duplicate content. So, you know, that does what that does. But like I've been saying, and this has been, if you've been listening, you know this has been for like a couple of months now when I took that first break and then came back in um to see that like, you know, the space hasn't changed too much. And with that, it's just like, well, what are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing here? Because I don't know, man. Like, aside from just like the technology side, personally, I don't think there's been too much interesting things to me technology wise, but that's just me. Whereas some people would argue different. And if you know how it's going now for how I've been doing a channel for like the last what 6+ months, it's literally just going through Twitter. Actually, it's more than 6 months, definitely more than 6 months. It's going through Twitter and then just seeing what catches my attention, scratches my brain, and then I bring it to y'all. Um, and with that, you know, it is it the news to me on the technical side has not necessarily yo, T just hilarious. Um, that's wild. Sorry, I'm looking through Twitter right now, and I seen something else from somebody. Hilarious. Um, so yeah, between like what's going on with the algorithms on YouTube, between how I see the crypto space moving and just the reining in of the space being pulled into the traditional monetary policy system stuff, um and then just like I have other interests and I don't know how much of I want to do something with that video wise. Like I think I mentioned it at one point a couple weeks or months back. I got a book. I did a book called Sergeant Trek: Life After AIT. Um I got another idea that I'm trying to build out in terms of doing the whole two-way movement thing, but like not on the prepping business per se. Um, I think considering the number of things that are going on in the world today, because it's wild out there, boys and girls. It is wild out here. Like who saw this coming 6 months ago, right? Um, so like I think the two-way thing is gonna get a pickup. Um, I don't know if it's gonna be the same kind of pickup or it'll be the same kind of mindset, folks, like what was going on during the COVID period. But I think I'm gonna take a jump into that space, but more on the like mm, there's a guy, I can't remember his name right now, but in Japan, I think it was Japan or it might have been South Korea, but I think it's Japan. And he basically did it where like he would just rent out his time. Hey, you want to go to the movies? Hey, you're looking for a partner to go shopping with you? Like, I'm not gonna shop. I'm just gonna be there with you to be like, oh wow, nice outfit. My man literally just rented out his time like that. And I'm thinking of something along the lines of that, but along with the whole like, yes, there is a some education that comes with, you know, buying personal protection of that type. Um the things and it's crazy. You know what also has me on this track? And this is the other part of why I'm trying to figure out what to do with this whole Trek with 2Ks channel, or like I might just end up keeping the crypto conversation over here on the Gentleman of Crypto side, but like the Trek with 2Ks live channel itself is gonna expand out into other topics. Because when I tell you the number of things that I be interested in, like I just went to BlurCon for the first time since it started. That was a dope experience. Shout outs to the people behind BlurCon. I might not agree with all of the way the business partnerships and stuff pan out, or at least for what I saw, but the general sentiment of the event, I agree with. It was dope to me as a first time person going to like that kind of um con. If you know, you know what's up in regards to BlurCon. Right. So shout outs to those team of folks who made that happen. Shout outs to all the folks who came out. Like when I tell you like no violence, I ain't see a cop not once. The weather ended up working out like halfway through and everything. The folks who was like the families, like it I enjoyed the experience. I'm looking forward to the 10th year. Like 10 years of doing that is a big monumental step, especially for the type of event it is and like who the target audience is. I think that's a big thing, and I'm looking forward to year 10. Yeah. So again, the Trek with 2K live channel, I think I'm gonna end up pushing to expand. Like, it's not just gonna be crypto conversation stuff. Um, and I'm gonna go in a different direction with that, where I think it's gonna be more expansive, if that's the right word. Because one of the other things that has been noted about what's going on with YouTube algorithms right now is um the commentary essay format, which I want to say shout outs to Eli the computer guy, because he was somebody who, before he was doing all pre-records until maybe about a month or something ago, he jumped back into doing live streams, but still covering the news, technology, policy, like topic that he chose to pick up for that day. And he does like kind of what I do. Well, really more like I do what he does, because he's been doing this fucking way longer than me. He has been doing the let me tell you a story that relates to what he's talking about in the bigger news topic. And so um I think I'm a do that, in terms of separate out, the crypto side is still going to be over here. I'm still where I'm at right now as I go through some of these stories and conveying, like, I've been gone for 30 days. Like, I looked at what my last episode was, and it was like the 16th of February, and I'm back on the 16th now. And the space is kind of disappointing. And then the news today with Andreas Antonopoulos really kind of has me on the, like, damn, bro, like, we losing like a dude who was really out here providing like super gold platinum information. And at least for the 2 to 3 times that I've met him, he was a very personable person. You know what I'm saying? Like, funny guy. And I'm not saying I had extended, long out conversations with him, but for my brief interaction, it does have me be like, damn, that's sorry to hear that, like, his health is doing what it's doing, so he's not gonna be able to do the content like that now. That's a thought leader to me, at least. I know that was one of my early inspirations in moving into this space, but that's just me, right? Um, the other thing in relation to the channel and like the Trek with 2K is live, and I want to say shout outs to We the People podcast, because they're another reason why I'm looking to explore um the Sergeant Trek in the 2A lens. Because there was an episode that they recently did, and they had an OG dude on there. He was like, you like, being a gunsmith is not the same as putting what is it, a parts placer or something like that. And I said, you know what, I ain't even mad at you, because for those who know what I do on the day-to-day job business that pays the bills and keeps the roof and the lights on and stuff, it's one of those like, but wouldn't you say you're that? And it's like, nah, dog, I know I'm not a gunsmith. Like, I don't have that technical level of knowledge. I know some things, I can do some things, but I know I don't have that level of knowledge. And I think that um one of the things I would like to explore, whether it be that Trek with 2Ks is a whole nother separate channel by itself, or I keep it in the realm of the Trek with 2Ks live thing as the channel, I don't know, but I'm gonna figure that part out. I just wanted to say shout outs to those dudes from We the People, because they also encouraged me and inspired me to be like, all right, I'm gonna push on this two-way journey. Um, Y'all, for the folks who know you've been around for a minute, yeah, it's the gang, but it's different. Like, you'd be surprised how many people in the service, the military, outside of having an IWQ, don't don't mess with firearms like that. Like, I and if you in or people in, you know what I'm talking about. Especially when you get to the guard and reserve side of like the component levels. Um, One thing on the active side, but even them, but when you get to the guard and reserve side, the numbers are way higher for people who just do not mess with firearms outside of when they have to IWQ. And I'm not I'm in that conversation or that context. I'm not including MPs on the active side, but I might include MPs on the guard side, unless, especially if they're not law enforcement on their civilian side. Those are my caveats on that statement. But all right, let me do this. Cover a story or two for some of the things that like caught my attention and scratched my brain. Um Today, and here is the first joint that hold on, let me do this. That opened up Twitter today. First thing I seen was this. No more live streams and content due to health. And it's so crazy what this dude's journey has been in this space. Like, who remembers when he was dealing with the money issues and everybody was like, wait a minute, you're a Bitcoin guy. You're one of the early OGs. You're one of the, how are you having issues with money? Like, you never know, man. You never know what's going on with people. Like that, and that's why I be saying what I say at the end, man. Like, you just never know what's going on with people and how life is lifing with them. Like my sister, one of my sisters just lost like some longtime friends, and it was a married couple that she knew. Something happened, they both, you know, not here no more. Um it's also crazy to notice how many celebrities are like losing their kids. That kind of threw me the other day. I forget, I'm bad with names. So like the actual um names of the people I don't remember at the moment right now, but it was something I noticed today, like from I guess January or last year, some point to now, where it's like, well, god damn, like that's a mental like head banger right there. Like to have to deal with that as a parent, I don't know what I would do. Just yeah, but yeah, man. Arguably one of the foundations of the space, if not in the Western American Western community, arguably globally, there are very few personalities in this space that are recognized globally. And I mean, considering how far we are along in the space right now, honestly, I don't know who counts as a globally recognized personality today. Like outside of the people who are more on the like, oh, like I was in here in 2016, or I got here at 2020, or I was here for 2011. Like the people who are in here now at like 2025, or you just got on in like 2024. Like, who did they even pay attention to be like, oh yeah, this is the person who inspired me, or oh, this is the person who put me on? Like, is it Wall Street Trapper? Is it what's their name? Um know your leisure? Like, I don't know who personality wise counts as a recognized name in this space anymore. Like, god damn, bro. Like, this is one of those moments where I definitely feel like I've been here too long. Or I've been either either I've been here too long, slash, I've not gotten out in a while. I should say that better. I've not gotten out in a while to understand who are the notable personalities in the space now. And I'm not talking to folks who are the grifters. So no Jamie Dimon, no friggin' what's his name from the All In podcast, the dude connected with Trump who's like the crypto techie Caesar person, not him. Like I need somebody who has some level of like technical prowess to them for me to be like, oh, okay, yeah, I could like accept that person's name in a conversation. But then again, that could be me also being judgy, right? That could be me also being a crypto unk, like, oh, that's some back in the day shit, unk, like cut that shit out. I don't know. Again, I've been here for a minute, and I guess I need to kind of get back out there. Funny enough, I was telling somebody this the other day, and oh, by the way, shout outs to Charlene, because yeah, as you see, I saw this on her post, like literally opened it up today, and boom, and I definitely kind of just wow, like why, did it have to happen? Another thing that caught my attention that I did not know, shout outs to the crypto knot, oh sorry, huddle knot. Um, so apparently, um and I don't know how much y'all might really care for this, as far as is it something you would find relevant to a crypto conversation. I think it is kind of relevant in terms of how DEI at one point had a positive perception for people or outlook or effect, and then the way that the joint has turned around in and I'm gonna say back in Biden's administration is when it got like flipped, turned inside out and weaponized, and then Trump's administration just like doubled down on it. But even with all of that, for what Hodlnot is talking about in this thread that he did in relation to someone who got hired into the Bitcoin core, I was just like, wow, like how did that work then? That someone who didn't have the long run vision, who looked at it as a commodity, as a asset, who didn't really believe in any of the ideals, like how did that person make it into the Bitcoin core team of folks, like to be a hired person? And apparently no one's given a squared away answer on what qualified to make her get hired. I have no idea who the hell this person is. Again, as I have said for how this segment now works, I scroll through Twitter and I just go with what scratches my brain. And this was one of those things because Hollow is one of the things that one of the people that I follow on X. And so it was like, wait, what is he talking about? And then I had to go through and like read the whole thread, and it's like I think 10 or 12 altogether things. But it was just like, huh, okay, well, if this is what the person said themselves, like, and they were only here for a handful of years, what in the world is, like, again, like I look at it and go, just like, what are we doing? Why are we here? Like, there's so many things that are changing within the digital panopticon, the thing of the Five Eyes, the AML, anti-money laundering um agreements, policies, and laws, the different things going on the banking side versus the financial like regulator side, like, and the amount of interconnecting the things together, where it's just like, is Bitcoin still making sense in this environment? And arguably, I know, Andreas would be like, no, it makes even more sense in this type of environment. Like, you need to double down in terms of having tools, having processes, having access to a financial system that can still work with self custody, right? Speaking of which, on a side tangent, and not a side tangent per se, but it is related. Are folks paying attention to and this is gonna go into what Nick Anthony posted from what's her name? And I can't remember her name right now. But anywho, Simon Dixon. I want to say probably 3 to 4 months ago, I noticed the switch in his presentation around how he was talking about what was going on with Bitcoin, what was going on with crypto, to be inclusive of stable coins, and like the financial geopolitical landscape. And honestly, it is, and I think I've said this before, but it is like almost a 180 from where he was before and what he was talking about with, like, you know, following with the playing by the rules of the government. And I'm not saying he's out here telling people to do anything illegal. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm saying is, for how he was more, I guess to say, hopeful or believing in that, like, this new monetary system and the technology would have a better transition, and it would be able to maintain its agency, as and the users of this new monetary system would have a better ability to maintain their economic sovereignty and agency. But for how he talks about it now, your boy is like, yeah, listen, we need to double down and fight this, because if we don't, like, the surveillance capitalism, the, so what is it? Surveillance, what do they call it? The basically, which is the whole digital panopticon. The finance side is only one component of the digital panopticon. Okay. And so, like, he apparently had a conversation with oh man, what is this lady's name? I gotta go look for her name now. um she is another person who comes from the government side, and she's definitely stepped away from the US as like everything is awesome, everything is cool, where it's just like, no, like, these folks are out here lying to us, and they stealing the money, and they're doing things that goes against how I understand America to originally be, or like what the principles are of what we're supposed to be founded on, right? And hold on, I'm trying to find, you know what, let me just do it this way. uh what is her name? Where are we at? Almost there, folks. Where are you? Okay, that was that one. I was watching this like way earlier today. Catherine Austin Fitz. That's who I'm trying to name. So apparently, her and Catherine Austin Fitz had a conversation. And yo, if you've been listening to Catherine Austin Fitz over like the last, because she does interviews, but like her, I guess, American side interviews are interviews that get like pushed within the American YouTube feeds. It doesn't hit like that. But she does interviews, and so she did it, and apparently she had a conversation with Simon Dixon, and she's like, yeah, he's really knowledgeable, he's cool. um and she ain't say cool, like, don't think she actually said cool. All right. But she said something today that is like, oh snap, you definitely did a 180, which arguably is kind of inspiring to me, because before she was very, very anti crypto, where she was like, yeah, this digital stuff is just going to be the way for them to control people. It's going to be the whole thing of locking down your finances, da 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 da. And apparently now she's like, well, and I don't remember if she specifically said Bitcoin because I just seen the interview today, but I don't remember if she specifically said Bitcoin. But she did bring up the point of, if it's able to do self custody, this is the thing that we have to keep as an option versus just jumping fully into what they throw or give to us, because that's the stuff that's going to lock us down. And so I'm like, huh, okay. When I heard her say this, I was just like, wait, what? Like, this is very, very opposite of what you've been preaching for like years now since Bitcoin came on the scene. And so I just thought it was really surprising. And I was like, wow, okay. Um, this is interesting. I would definitely like to see a conversation with Simon Dixon and Catherine Arthur Fitz. I think that would be a very interesting conversation, because here she is on the like, she comes from the US government, he's on the international scene. He also comes from like the UK financing side. They're both international now, and that she doesn't live in the US anymore. And so it'd be interesting to hear how they're seeing all of this stuff go on, with the monetary system, the crypto stuff, the shenanigans over there in the sandbox called the quote Middle East. Um, but yeah, I would definitely watch that kind of episode, to see where that conversation goes, or like what tidbits I could take out of it. And so that goes to, this thing that Nick Anthony, who's a recent account that I started following. I think I started following him like last month at some point, and I forgot what actually got him on my radar, but it was some post that either he did or someone reshared, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna follow his account, because he does do like policy analysis, and he talks about like certain aspects of crypto stuff. But like this one was Naomi Cromwell. It's not Naomi. Oh God, why can't I remember her name right now? But Naomi, y'all know who I'm talking about. Redheaded lady, British. She's doing her thing too. But he made the point, most people continue to believe in a version of financial privacy that no longer exists. And I 100% agree with that. Again, if you understand how the financial aspects on the back end work for what the quote um digital panopticon setup is, you don't see the guard, but the guard sees you. The guard is the algo sees you, even though you don't see it. It is always watching. You are always being flagged. And X amount of the trigger has to do with, is your activity either looking to obfuscate your financial movements, or are you moving capital out of the traceable system? That's like the relative part of the standard of how you're being monitored on the back end digitally. Do your financial activities indicate one to three of these things? And then depending on how often you do it, it does other things. But I'm not saying this to you, by the way, as a CPA or lawyer or financial advisor. I'm none of those things. I'm just some guy um on the internet. And I'm out here just, talking some things that you may agree with me, or you may not agree with me. That's where I'm at right now with it all. That is where I'm at right now with it. Uh yeah. And I'm gonna try to wrap this up sooner than later. It is raining out here. When I tell you nature is, I don't know if nature is playing with us somebody over at is it DARPA, which is the one of those like quote government programs that mess with the weather. I don't know which one it is, but man, over the last week, I'm yo, nature has been on some BS right now, man. We went from 7 degrees one day to dropping down and having crazy overcast the next day. Wilding, bro. Anywho, um, so let me jump into this other joint that Jameson Lop had posted too that caught my attention. And it kind of played into the whole thing of just like the what's going on. Damn, ain't shit changed in 30 days. You know what I'm saying? And that the post goes, if you can't improve your life by selling your Bitcoin because of some meme people made up about never selling, then you haven't actually achieved freedom. And I'm gonna say I 100% agree with that. Like, I don't know if I had thing that, but I'm definitely gonna repost that one. On the end of all of the people who are like either big whales in this space are selling. So like, and then damn near all of the OG folks in this space, they may not sell all of their stuff, but they're selling, right? Like what's his name? Not Sam Altman. What's the dude's name? Oh god, it's Sam something, the young one, and he has that new ETF joint that's 21. It's called 21 something, BC 21 or something like that. Like he sells X amount of his Bitcoin on a monthly in order to deal with his like fiat based life. He's a perfect example. Andreas Antonopoulos is another example. He sells X amount of his crypto he has to deal with his fiat based life. A number of the people, the miners, hell, the large scale miners are in the same boat of where they sell X amount of the crypto in order to deal with like paying the employees and dealing with the fiat side of how the business works for them. Hell, Michael Saylor, when the number hits whatever the number needs to hit, you think that man is not going to sell X amount, if not all of the crypto? And he just bought some crypto, I think, this week that was like a 4 or 5 digit number. I think like and and remembering the hodl era was like back then, Jesus Christ, listen to me. um and then looking at it now, and it's just like, but even back then, like those same folks, like they didn't plan to hold forever. Like you might have held X amount of it, but you were definitely selling at some point. Because why? The number was going to hit high enough for you to be like, all right, boom, let me sell X amount of this off, go buy this thing, pay off this debt, blah, 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 blah. Lo and behold, like we are what, more than Bitcoin's a teenager at this point. And for some people, depending on when they got in, like they hit. So what did they do? They bought the house, they got the car, they paid off the debt, they took that trip. You know what I'm saying? They took care of some medical thing. They blew the money on hookers and blow. Like people did things. Some choices were more wiser and long term, thought through than others. But yeah, what are we doing? You hodl forever and then like, because if you were gonna say that Bitcoin was a monetary system too, right? If you still believe in that versus just it just being a value holder, then eventually you was gonna have to use it, so you'd have still been getting rid of it regardless, no? Like one way or the other. Either you were gonna use it as sats, satoshis, to deal with acquiring services or products that you needed or would need, future tense. Um, or you would cash out on the fiat side and then do the same thing of acquiring those products or services. Either way, you weren't going to hold the crypto forever. But then again, like I said, like the folks from my timeline, different set of folks to this timeline, but I think we have a more realistic view now, at least for most of us, that like, okay, at a certain point, like we're gonna let some of it go. But if we could use it as it is and in Satoshis, all right, bet. My wallet send to your wallet. Let's go. But we'll see. We'll see. Um, where am I going with this one? What was this one about that got me? Oh, so simple point of I was just making a point about this one with Binance being the new big brother. Again, the digital panopticon is a thing, and Binance is just doing their part. So basically, at some point or another, somebody started noticing how there were transactions moving in certain patterns and ways that would eventually end up to wallets that were being connected to uh, Iranian locations, right? And so that then gets me wondering the whole thing about the geofencing and how is that working out for them to be able to track it down to like, oh, this is where this crypto's going. So yeah, even with the hopping, that's the other thing to note. Even with the hopping, and I don't know how many people were probably doing mixers with this, which kind of is what kind of does the hopping stuff. Um, they were still able to be like, okay, we know that X amount of it is going here. Now, the question then gets into who wants to start pressing buttons in terms of like, oh well, if you know that those users are Iranian and we're going to start giving you names, or you can just blanket the whole country. Again, this is where we get into the whole thing of the double down of agency. F Because like how would this play out in this context of like the way of where this would go in the current landscape, the current scene of things, and Binance not being a traditional bank but a newer 21st century aged financial institution. If a Western power decided to push the button or push on a button to be like, hey, you guys need to stop all transactions, do not have any of your wallets or any of the nodes that you control for a crypto allow transactions to go to and from this region. How long do you think it would take before that news got out? And then considering how this looks on the world stage, if it was done by the US, excuse me, what would be the argument? Like, oh, they're funding terrorism? Uh, how would that argument work? And then, oh, what's going on, bro? It's been a minute, man. It's been a minute. It's been 30 days and ain't nothing changed in this fucking place, man. That's the title. That's what. Well, I ain't say the effing part, but it's been 30 days, bro. I looked at the last episode date and seen the thing. I was like, oh wow, it's 30 days. Ain't shit changed. But to this point that I'm trying to, well, not a point, but like I'm still boxing it in terms of if the West pushed on Binance to block all crypto transactions on the wallets and the nodes that they control, would Binance agree? Because they already playing Big Brother and telling on people, right? But like, how far would they go, especially, and this is international Binance, this ain't local Binance. Like, how far would they go in, like, quote, towing the line? And I'm not gonna say, um, and I'm not gonna say like following the law, because the law part kind of got thrown out the window off the break of this in the beginning, when we kind of threw all wild ass stories out on why we were there or why we did whatever. And I'm not looking to necessarily get into that, but I still do wonder, like, if the US starts calling in, favors, how many of these exchanges are going to listen, and who's counting, um yeah, I hear you. Nobody likes a tattletale, but at the end of the day, they're still a business. And remember, I don't remember if they still have their DOJ federal employee that works at the company, but, like, I'm just saying, you know, uh if you got the popo in the office next to you or sitting at the desk across from you, are you really tattletaling because they see everything that you see? You know what I'm saying? Like, but yo, if somebody writes a book about what this era was like, let's say like 5 or 10 years down the road, right? Somebody from Binance writes their book. If they don't include what was going on, what? I don't. Oh, wait, is that what he was talking about? Hold up. All right, you got me mad distracted, bro. Yo, every time you come on, you and what's his name? Every time y'all come on, I get mad distracted with your comments. All right, I think that's what. No. All right, I don't know. Hold. You know what? Give me a quick second. Let me. What am I looking for right now? Okay. Wait, what? That's what that was for? Okay, now I gotta go look. God damn, bro. Twitter. Yo, you step away from Twitter for a little minute. Um, and I'm trying to like cut on time today. All right, let me. When the fuck did that happen? Okay, this is interesting. So apparently my things got deleted and I can't even see my chat messages or things now. I don't even know when this happened. Uh I just sent you a message though. Oh, ugh, I'm about to update and it's gonna screw me. I know it. I friggin' know it. I'm about to update the app and it's gonna screw me because something in the app is gonna do something that it wasn't doing before. Watch. Gotcha, man. Gotcha. What was the other thing you said? Business have additional responsibilities and disclose it. Yes, very true. That is true. But like I said, I guess we're gonna see how this goes. Cause in my mind, yo, Oh man, yeah, we gotta talk, bro, because I have a whole slew of thoughts for how I see this joint playing out if it goes longer than a month. And then apparently today we're in like day 16 or 17. And then you see what they did with the warrant officers, where they're talking about now the warrants are gonna have on the act. I'm assuming this is going to trickle down in some way or form to Compo 2 and 3. But the warrants have to bid for contract extensions and bonuses. Like, gone are the days of a warrant who been there longer than 25, 30 years. Because I believe on average, hey, what's going on? Cleo Dior? Long time, long time. Yeah, but yeah, we gonna catch up on that one, bro. Like it's just so many things going on right now. I'm just like, what? Um, so like, yeah, man, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, bro. Look it up. Warrant officers starting this month going forward are going to have to put in, I don't want to say blind bids, but basically like if me and you are warrants, you won't know what I put in unless I told you how much I put in. But there's a number where it's like, hey, if y'all want to keep me in this military, I need at least a 4-figure, 5-figure number, and you say what the number is, and it's like, oh well, you know what, we got you, Mr. Robinson, because the number was below what the cutoff was. If your number is a little too high or above whatever the number is, guess what? You're not getting the extension. It's wild, bro. And this is just one of the things that I see on how over this next decade, we like the government is going to do things to start clawing back incentives and programs and money. And it's just like, yo, if you would have never spent the money, or well, if you wouldn't have borrowed the money on the things you was borrowing the money on, we probably wouldn't have the debt, and then you wouldn't have to be cutting out the programs that you're cutting out right now. Like, I'm gonna go there. I'm already here. Sorry. Um like I'm throwing this one out there, bro, because I imagine you thought of this too when you heard certain things, right? How am I saying this? For the counter strikes that have been done on uh US occupied locations in the sandbox, the way that I understand the math of it is they cost between a couple million to hundreds of millions, and then going into um uh I think one location is in the billions. And 8 times out of 10, considering how our military budget is set up, where we borrow the money to fund our military, it means um we didn't pay to we didn't pay for it, basically. Like, we were still making installments. This was like layaway. Nah, this ain't layaway. This is what did they call the new stuff now? Buy now, pay later. Like, that's what we was on. That's what the US government was on. We using the stuff now. Rent a center. There we go. Rent a center. The US government was on some rent a center business. We was using the stuff, but now it got broke, and we don't have the stuff. And basically, who we borrowed the money from can't collect on broken stuff. So it's gonna be like, well, you still gonna owe us money. And the way things are looking, and I've been saying this for how long now? Economy ain't looking too great. We are where we are now, right? But yeah, pay as you. Nah, it's not pay as you go. It's buying. It's like, what is it? Use now, pay later. But yeah, Rent a Center is the best example that I can think of for what we were doing. We borrowed the money to go and build some stuff and get overcharged on the contractor side. They put the things in the places that they put them in. We did what we did in the beginning of the month, and then counter strikes happened, and now we can't return the stuff because all of it is broken, and we didn't finish paying for the debt that we took out for the stuff. Which means if you're in my age range, like the boomers, if they make it into their 80s or like their hundreds, it's gonna be rough. But if you in my age range, and what this government is about to do to try to get the money to deal with the debt that was incurred for those systems that now like total up to the hundreds of billions, and that's just like one thing on the like the economic woe table. Like that's just one thing. We're not even getting into some of the other stuff. Like if you've been to some of these locations in the sandbox, Kuwait in particular, I've been to. Spent a good chunk of time in that motherfucker. And I in my mind, it was just like, yo, whoever was there, instant PTSD. Instant. And there's no way you're telling me that we have lost like double digit number people. Not at all. And I say this respectfully as much as I can on the end of I get the part of you're out there quote doing your job and then shit happens. And in this case, I don't think in the context, yes, sand gets everywhere. But Afghanistan, the dust gets everywhere. Um I don't huh. The short of it, I'll say, if you've been downrange and you've been to a couple of those locations from Jordan to Kuwait to Qatar, like you already know. There's no way you're telling me it's double digits. And I don't know what this is gonna look like in another 6 months. Hell, they talk about midterm elections and how that's gonna play out. Madness. Um and I'll be saying this at my job, right? Where it's just like, I knew there would be chaos and craziness, but the level of chaos and craziness is just like, well, god damn, like, bruh, could you find any more of a way to make things hectic? Which then brings me to something else that oh, I'm on the wrong page. That I came across the other day, and I think it might have been Catherine Austin Fitz too that had said it. Oh no, it was something else on IG that I came across. Um Project 2025. Because here's like the kind of logic, and I'm gonna run back over to this crypto last point, and then I'm out. If what it was in Project 2025 is what we see playing out in front of us now, then arguably it didn't matter who sat in the chair. Like, it could have been Kamala, it could have been Bernie, um, it could have been what's the dude Yang. It's just that for how people vote and how we work in this republic, aka democracy, um, yes, moon dust. Yes, that grayness to it, the moon dust. Um, People vote more towards personality, and so um, that's what we got, right? And that's just kind of been our track record on how well can the person wanting to sit in the chair and be the COC um present a personality and talking points that um motivate enough of the people. And so here's where we are. But again, if Project 2025 is what's being played out in front of us, mind you, there are papers that go back to a bunch of different think tanks from like the 70s and the 60s that talk about the things that have been played out within the Middle East and within the US and within Europe and within Latin America and parts of Africa and Asia for like the last number of decades. And some of these things are now happening. My point is that, like, then it's not really a Donald Trump thing because none of the stuff is his actual idea. It's just he works as the better personality to sell it to the public. Like, imagine if things were this crazy and then you tried to sell it with Kamala Harris as the head person. Like, how many people would accept the idea that this was Kamala Harris's idea to do X, Y, and Z thing? Imagine Bernie Sanders. What? Biden would have made it a second term and all of this would have been going on? Like, it's the same thing though. It's just that his personality works better for all of the chaos stuff that we see going around in the various different aspects. But then again, this is all just my opinion, being some rando guy on the internet, right? You don't got to take my word for it. It means nothing. I'm just some guy in shades on the internet. That's all that is. Um, but yeah, let me get into this last joint. And so this guy right here, Hasib Qureshi, made a point about why Chat GPT and all of like the major um LLMs, aka AI platforms, will not allow people to basically directly connect their AIs to do crypto trading or trading of any kind for them, which is ironic as hell because that's literally what's going on like high frequency trading is just bots that are specific to trading. They do microtransactions, high speed stuff. That's been going on since the 70s on Wall Street, right? But yet, these companies won't allow the AI like public level version to be put out there um to the masses, because at that point then you got bots, right? um Trading bots. Like, where do the people fit into that? But when I heard this initially, and whose show was he on? He was on somebody's show when he said this. I don't remember who it was. Yeah, he was on what's the name of him? He was on, damn, what is their name? Bankless. Yeah, I think he was on the Bankless show when he said this. But my thing is, and I cannot remember the name for this website. It and it the name didn't fit what it did, but it was based in an EVM. It was an Ethereum ecosystem, and basically, like, you could create the smart contract to um basically, like, you would put together the protocols and like what order they would flow, and it was like literally a drag and drop setup. I wish someone could remember the name of this for me. um oh man, and the name, I can't remember the name of it right now, but it didn't like fit to what the site did. I just remember it was like an awkward name. Nonetheless, when I seen this, I thought of that and I was like, but we had this back in like 20, and okay, granted, it may not be the same level of like um access to information and being able to make comparison as far as what a AI would do. But like, that was the early version in terms of what the smart contract buildup was like, right? Because again, like, if you're looking at it going, what does this have to do? It has to make the trade to either get you to make the profit, or what, like, get you to clear before it's too much of a loss, right? And it'll be countering another AI, or it's looking to make projections on your long play, short play, which uh, again, like, we had versions of trading bots. The only difference is the trading bots that we had on the different platforms, like Three Rabbits, um oh god, who was the other, like, there were definitely bots. Bots are the early version of this. The difference is they didn't have access to additional um data points in regards to like being able to look on live market and seeing what the live market of an industry is, or looking at the bonds, or being able to compare charts in regards to like past activity of all-time high over the last 10 to 15 years in a particular market sector, and then comparing it to a cross set of data of like the geopolitical setup of like, oh, well, what's going on in Iran is going to affect the farming, which means the crops are going to be having this issue. So then the stocks for food companies is going to look like this in this window of time. Like, you couldn't do that back then because those bots didn't function to have access to additional data points of information. All they went off of, hey, the stock of what I'm tracking on this thing went up that day and went down this day, and if I do the numbers right in some whatever Fibonacci calculation, uh it should play out this way to do a leverage play, and then I set the loss or the percentage drop to be at this marker. Like, those are the things you could do back then. The stuff now, which you had to do X amount of that stuff set in manually, the stuff now, which is, the irony is, what Wall Street is doing on its back end, as well as other like international trading platforms like the NASDAQ, like Wall Street, in other countries, such as in Tokyo, the stuff in South Korea, the Russian version, the European version, their their AI bots, and I'm saying AI bots, are doing the same thing in that. And I remember I had a conversation with a computer engineer, like, I want to say like 2018, or it might have been 2017, when we were talking about how the way that Wall Street stuff was set up is they were doing it where they were taking external data points as a part of the equation for how to do the trades. So like I look at it and go, what he's talking about, I hear it in terms of, oh, you don't want to put the technology out there, and then when something goes wrong, people want to then turn around and make someone else, which I've said this for how long now about the delegated responsibility and how people really don't want economic sovereignty. They don't want self-agency because self-agency comes with financial accountability. It comes with accountability in general. But if I put it off on the AI and have the AI do all of the trading, if the AI somehow fudges, whether it be the hallucination of the AI itself, or someone was able to hack in and do something that messed with it, and then it fudged a wallet address number, or it fudged a period or comma in the code that it was writing to execute something. Now I lost a couple 100 million. I want to hold somebody else accountable for that. I can blame the AI, but who made the AI? Oh, you wrote the code for that? Bet. Oh, well, you work for the company? The company? I want to sue the company. And that's literally the point that they make in the segment for who he's talking to. I totally get it and agree with it, but what I find funny is for how the financial markets are set up today, that's what they're doing to the public. At least that's how I understand it. But yet, that's not what they want to give the public. That's my last one. That's all I got. Yeah, I'm done. Oz is done, folks. I'm gonna call this one a day, and I'll be honest. I don't know if I'll be here next Monday. I don't know. Um, the 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 space, as I've been saying, has been disappointing to me. Um, I do kind of feel like I got a little bit of hope, but I don't know exactly. Um, and it is what it is. And like I said, as far as the channel, I think with the other ideas and stuff that I have that I'm thinking about and what I want to explore with the other stuff, it will 9 times out of 10 be that I'm just gonna keep the crypto stuff over here, but my actual channel will go beyond just talking about the crypto stuff. Cause like I'm looking at stuff in regards to the cars, and like I want to do a drop excuse me, on a Subaru Forester, and I'm thinking like third gen. And then I'm looking to do a battle wagon with my third gen Outback. Damn. Wow. Pardon me. And then I got other interests. Like I said, the Sergeant Trek with the two-way journey thing, um, Shadow Band. Um, me, I probably am. Like, well, I know my actual channel is definitely getting suppressed in the algos. My actual channel is 100% getting suppressed in the channel in the algos. Um, but I also just haven't been on here like that because the space for how I see things moving is just really kind of disappointing to me. That's sorry for those who don't see it or hear it. I'm talking to Chloe Dior, and she said if asking if I was shadow banned, and it's like no, I just haven't been on here like that. Like literally, this break has been like a month long to the day, and for how I'm looking at stuff, for how I'm seeing the legislation, for how I'm seeing the community develop, it's just it doesn't hold my attention the way that it used to, and with how the mindset of folks is different today, it's just like we on some different stuff now. So oh, I'm not there yet, bro. I'm not there on the active duty funds. I hear you. I hear you, bro. Like stack it up. Stack it up. um, do what you gotta do. But again, like I said earlier, like at some point, one way or the other, people are going to quote get rid of their crypto, whether they cash out or they use it in form of satoshis. One of these two things will happen because at some point the price is going to hit the mark that they need. So it's going to hit the mark that you need on the fiat value side, or the system that you need to deal with in order to purchase the service or product is going to accept the sats, and then deal with it that way. Still going to encourage folks to build their networks, build your networks, because it is getting funky out here, man. And then, like I said, I'm looking at the whole two-way journey thing, but not on like the prepper kind of style of it. But I would definitely tell folks, like, pay attention. It is getting wild out here. Find your network of people. If you one of them precious metals bugs, find your network of people. The pawn guy, the guy at the flea market, the old head dude who was always talking about coins back in the. Find your people, man. But yeah, that's all I got. And I guess we'll see what happens between now and next week. And if I have enough with me to be like, all right, let's talk about this, crypto stuff a little bit more. We'll see where it goes. Other than that, as I say, from one human to the next, the best thing that I can wish for y'all is to be in a safe place and in a safe space. Oh, last thing, BlurCon. That's what I probably should try to do. Well, but it'll probably be on the other channel though. It'll probably be on my actual channel, and trying to get into BlurCon on like the media side next year. Went this year, had a great time, and we'll, looking forward to next year. Shout outs to those folks for doing what they do to make that happen. Other than that, man, I hope y'all have a good week and have a good weekend. I appreciate, and we'll catch up. Where am I looking for?
I'm Trek with 2Ks.